Hello and welcome to another edition of Bangladesh Today. A rare summit was held in Pakistan of developing 8 or D8 countries, which included Bangladesh. The total population of these countries is estimated to be 1 billion. However, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, refused to attend the summit. While in Bangladesh, the news is that she did not attend the summit because Pakistan has refused to apologize for the war crimes of 1971. In Pakistan, Foreign Minister Hina Khar said that Bangladesh had never asked for an apology and Sheikh Hasina was suffering from an eye ailment because of which her doctors had advised her not to travel. Despite the Pakistan Foreign Minister's claim, reports in Pakistani and Bangladeshi media continued to say that Sheikh Hasina's refusal to attend the summit was due to Islamabad's refusal to offer an apology for crimes committed by the Pakistani civil and military leadership in 1971, even before the former East Pakistan broke away to form Bangladesh. Muslim leaders from 8 countries gathered this week in Pakistan for a rare summit to increase trade and investment. They included Egypt, Indonesia, Iran, Malaysia, Nigeria, Pakistan, Turkey and Bangladesh. Islamabad rarely hosts major international gatherings, and participation by all member countries was important for its image, especially after the cancellation of a high-profile visit by Russian President Putin and repeated rebuffs from the Indian Prime Minister. Established 15 years ago, D8 has done little other than holding periodic conferences. However, the Gaza conflict and non-participation by Sheikh Hasina has cast a shadow over the summit. Pakistani Foreign Minister Hina Khar's statement that no formal apology was demanded by Bangladesh seemed odd, when just a few weeks back, during her meeting, her counterpart Bangladesh's Foreign Minister Deepu Moni had said Bangladesh expects an apology from Pakistan for the genocide carried out by the troops in 1971. Pakistan Foreign Secretary Qais also said that since 1974, Islamabad has, quote, at different times and different manners expressed its regret for the 1971 incidents. She said it is now time to proceed forward, burying the past, unquote.
The Hamidur Commission report held both the Pakistan Army and the civilian authority responsible, and Pakistan Army is more responsible because it was ruling the country at that point of time. So Pakistan Army is not in a position, to accept that it actually went wrong in 71. So that becomes a problem. As far as D8 summit is concerned, like I said, this is a new group which is coming about. But since the domestic politics is very important in any country, and Bangladesh is going to have elections next December, this political party is going to end its tenure 5 years in power. So since they will be having an election soon, and I don't think it would have been prudent on the part of, politically prudent on the part of Hasina to have gone and attended the D8 meeting. Her stances has always been very, very well known.
While some in Pakistan say that former President General Pervez Musharraf during his visit to Dhaka had already tendered the apology in July 2002, it did not seem to satisfy the Awami League, which felt that Musharraf spoke about it in vague terms. General Musharraf is supposed to have expressed his regrets twice during his stay in the Bangladeshi capital, which was welcomed by the then Prime Minister Khalida Zia. However, the opposition, particularly the Awami League party, did not consider it sufficient and maintained that General Musharraf as president should have clearly tendered an apology.
Pakistan during Musharraf's regime, when he visited Bangladesh during the BNP's rule, he only said that he regretted the 71 war. But they have not tendered any formal apology. But I will just contrast, Pakistan's behavior towards East Pakistan and its behavior in the last year, October, when the Salala incident took place, if you remember, in the Pakistan-Afghanistan border, where 26 Pakistani soldiers were killed, in the drone attack. That time Pakistan asked for an apology to the United States, that unless and until it apologizes, it is not going to open the the ground, the Glock, the Pak Glock, that is the the NATO supply route which passes through Pakistan. So if Pakistan feels so strongly about 28 of its soldiers being killed by the United States, the soldiers were just guarding their border, I find it a bit surprising when 3 million people have been, this is the rough estimate, where 3 million people of East Pakistan has been killed, tortured and raped. I think if you contrast it, I think that they should need to apologize for the 71 war, because after all, if this apology is going to bring the two countries together, and if there are some people in Pakistan who regret that what happened prior to 71, because 71 may have happened in the 8 to 9 months of liberation war, but there is a long history why 71 happened, why the people of East Pakistan reached that condition where they felt the necessity of taking up the liberation war, fighting the Pakistan army. So therefore I think since it is a emotional issue in Bangladesh, since people of Bangladesh feel deeply about it, so I really do not see where what is wrong in giving an apology when Pakistan itself has been demanding the same kind of apology from United States in the past.
The Awami League is very sensitive about the whole apology issue. Having been instrumental in the creation of Bangladesh and suffered the maximum casualties during the freedom movement, it is quite natural that the Awami League cadres are not willing to let bygones be bygones. In 1971, a long and bloody operation called Operation Searchlight was launched by the Pakistani army to curb the Bengali nationalist movement by taking control of the major cities and then eliminating all opposition, political or military, within 1 month. According to the New York Times of 28th March 1971, 10,000 people were killed. The New York Times of 29th March 1971 said 5,000 to 7,000 people were killed in Dhaka. The Sydney Morning Herald of 29th March 1971 said 10,000 to 100,000 were killed. The New York Times of 1st April 1971 said 35,000 were killed in Dhaka during Operation Searchlight. The Awami League, however, says that up to 3 million people were killed in the war, many murdered by locals collaborating with the Pakistani forces. The War Crimes Tribunal is trying the collaborators for war crimes.
30 lakh people were killed in that war. So we don't want to take a revenge. We don't want to retaliate. But those who suffered, those who lost their lives, at least their relations, want some sort of peace, mental peace, by bringing the culprits to book. And that is the process we have started. And I am very happy that though late, we have started it, and it is necessary, rather I will say it is essential for establishing the ideals of liberation war in Bangladesh, and also to restore the 72 Bangladesh again.
It can be expedited and more fast. It should not take so much of time. What sort of facilities we are giving to these war crime criminals? No country, no nation has given them. In Geneva Act and Pact, whatever laws are there, we are giving much more facilities to them than what is international law stands for. So I think the process should be quicker, and process should be thoroughly in accordance with the Geneva Pact and Act. We need not to give them more facilities to show that we have a big heart, we are people with big heart, not doing anything wrong. This is nothing to show like this, because Geneva Act and Pact has enunciated laws for war crimes and crimes against humanity. So we should follow that.
While the Pakistani government will not tender a formal apology, Imran Khan surprised everybody by saying that it was time Pakistan formally apologized to Bangladesh. He said that previously he was also of the opinion that the Pakistan Army operation was a good thing, as there was no independent media in Pakistan then to verify the facts in 1971. But when he went to England, his friends told him the truth. History is replete with incidents of countries refusing to admit to war crimes. Despite irrefutable evidence that Japan waged aggressive war across East Asia and the Western Pacific region between 1937 and 1945, it has consistently refused to acknowledge or apologize formally. A secret cable released by WikiLeaks revealed that President Obama in his 2009 tour to Japan wanted to apologize to the Japanese for the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki that ended the war in the Pacific. However, that proved to be a non-starter. President Obama came in for a lot of criticism from his rivals and the right-wing elements in the US when he allegedly traveled overseas in his first term, apologizing for America's behavior in the Bush years. A fact check showed that he never did formally tender an apology. But it only goes to show how sensitive a matter it is for a country to apologize for war crimes. It doesn't rest easy on any establishment of any country.
I think Pakistan probably may not apologize as I see it, because if you look at Pakistan, if you look at the literature on the 71 war, till now Pakistan keeps on blaming India for 71 to have happened. They do not see actually where did Pakistan went wrong as a nation state in 71, that the Eastern Wing, which at one point of time had supported the Pakistan resolution in the Bengal Assembly, and which actually is the majority province between the two wings. The Bengalis were in majority. The majority asking for succession from the minorities, who must not have had that kind of experience in the history. So therefore, there is a need for Pakistan to see what went wrong. But Pakistan for the past many years, because of its own especially its own attitude towards India, has always defined its national security as India-centric. Therefore, it has always overplayed the role which India played in 1971 war, saying that it is because of India the two wings got separated. So the moment you start making this kind of blame, you actually do not have an introspection. You do not look where did the elite went wrong. So therefore, unless and until you have that kind of literature or people who are speaking, then it's very difficult that the apology will come, because people have to think that actually what happened in 71 war, and the Pakistan army did something wrong. Pakistan was at fault. The policies at fault, when I say at fault, means the policies towards East Pakistan at that point of time was faulty, and Pakistan did not respect the democratic aspirations of the East Pakistanis who were at the majority. So unless until you have this kind of realization, you always look at the 71 war as externally generated.
Relations between Bangladesh and Pakistan have always been rocky, with a few periods of cooperation. After the secession of East Pakistan on December 16, 1971 and the emergence of Bangladesh as a sovereign state, relations between Dhaka and Islamabad have swung between hostility and cooperation. Due to the historical and psychological hangovers, close friendly relations between Bangladesh and Pakistan have not ever developed. Neither meaningful trade ties nor people-to-people interaction seem to take place between Pakistan and Bangladesh, even though they are such large countries in the Saarc region. The 1,000 miles that separate the two countries seem impossible to bridge. Are they destined to remain permanent adversaries, or can they rise above mutual suspicion? For things to improve between the two countries, Pakistan would have to move beyond emotions and rhetoric and come to terms with the fact that however humiliating it was, they did lose the war of 1971 and they did commit atrocities on civilians. The next step would be to apologize for those deeds.
The relations, is such, they don't have such deep relations also with Pakistan, and that is much more of a relationship of the 25 years when they were together, and it is also a relationship of the past. So I don't think, it's not just her not attending is going to deteriorate the relationship. There are other factors which will add to the deterioration of relations, like, the war crime trial. President Zardari's envoy also had visited after Hasina took over power in 2008. He visited in 2009. Mr. Isfani, if I am not mistaken his name. So he visited as special envoy of Zardari to request Hasina not to hold the war crime trial. So, so not attending is just one aspect. There are many aspects to Bangladesh-Pakistan relations which actually will determine the course of their relations, and whether it will be deep, whether it will be, just formal, that will be decided, because of other factors, not just that she did not attend the day itself.
Bangladesh's relationship with Pakistan continues to be fraught with hurt and distrust. The psychological trauma is yet to be resolved, as nothing short of an apology will satisfy the political dispensation in Bangladesh, and Pakistan has never learned to say sorry to anybody ever. That's all in this episode of Bangladesh Today. Hello and welcome to another edition of Bangladesh Today. A rare summit was held in Pakistan of developing 8 or D8 countries, which included Bangladesh. The total population of these countries is estimated to be 1 billion. However, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, refused to attend the summit. While in Bangladesh, the news is that she did not attend the summit because Pakistan has refused to apologize for the war crimes of 1971. In Pakistan, Foreign Minister Hina Khar said that Bangladesh had never. Former East Pakistan broke away to form Bangladesh. Muslim leaders from 8 countries gathered this week in Pakistan for a rare summit to increase trade and investment. They included Egypt, Indonesia, Iran, Malaysia, Nigeria, Pakistan, Turkey and Bangladesh. Islamabad rarely hosts major international gatherings, and participation by all member countries was important for its asked for an apology, and Sheikh Hasina was suffering from an eye ailment because of which her doctors had advised her not to travel. Despite the Pakistan Foreign Minister's claim, reports in Pakistani and Bangladeshi media continued to say that Sheikh Hasina's refusal to attend the summit was due to Islamabad's refusal to offer an apology for crimes committed by the Pakistani civil and military leadership in 1971, even before the summit, especially after the cancellation of a high-profile visit by Russian President Putin and repeated rebuffs from the Indian Prime Minister. Established 15 years ago, D8 has done little other than holding periodic conferences. However, the Gaza conflict and non-participation by Sheikh Hasina has cast a shadow over the summit.